Good day, grade 5. Welcome to our science class. I am teacher Joey, your virtual teacher for today. Today class, we will travel to another lesson in science. I know and I am sure that you are all excited for another fun-filled learning activities for today. So let us now begin. But wait class, before we start our discussion, try to find a nice and comfortable place inside your home where you can focus with your lesson. I want you to prepare yourself as well as your materials necessary for your study. Kindly bring out your pen and paper so that you could jot down some important notes needed for your learning. Always remember class that having knowledge is having a power. Today class, we are going to tackle about soil erosion. Last meeting, you've learned about weathering of rocks. And weathering refers to the process of breaking rocks into smaller pieces. And weathering of rocks can be classified into physical or chemical. You've learned also the different agents of weathering such as plants, animals, water, wind, temperature, humans, and chemicals. As we all know, Earth's surface is always changing. Rocks change continuously into smaller particles and mix with the organic elements of dead plants and animals to form soil. Have you noticed the muddy water flowing swiftly downstream after heavy rain? Where does the water get its load and where will it deposit this load? You may have seen how mechanical and chemical weathering slowly break rocks into smaller pieces. From where they are formed, the force of wind and water pick them up and carry them elsewhere. The process of depositing completes a cycle of continuous breaking down of building up of Earth's crust. So in this lesson class, you will learn the causes and effects of soil erosion on living things and environment will be discussed fully, including ways to prevent or reduce soil erosion. So at the end of these lessons, this will help you to discuss erosion and its causes, and investigate the extent of soil erosion in community and its effects on living things and the environment. The forces of weathering are responsible for the breaking down of rocks. The transport of rock particles elsewhere is continued by another process called erosion. Erosion is a process that wears away surface materials and moves them from one location to another, usually by means of wind, gravity, glaciers, or water. So let's now proceed to the causes of soil erosion. Number 1. Water erosion. Rainfall carries the small soil particles to another place. The great quantities of water that fall on Earth's surface bring about the transport of soil particles from the higher grounds to the lower grounds. Ibig sabihin yan, ito yung pag-move ng mga sediments or mga soil from one place to another by means of water. So, saan ito pupunta? It may be in the rivers, in the streams, or in the ocean. Number 2. Wind erosion. When a strong wind blows on land without plants or vegetation, the dry soil breaks apart, making the lighter particles to be blown to other places. Just like for example class, yung mga places na mga mabubuhangin is when there is what you call a wind erosion, nagkakaroon ng tinatawag na formation of hill or forming of hills or what you called sand dunes. Just like for example class, nasa bahay lang tayo or nasa loob lang tayo ng bahay, why is it na meron pa ring mga alikabok, may mga buhangin pa sa ating mga bahay-bahay? That is because of what you call transferring of soil through wind. Number 3, glacial erosion. As a glacier moves, it causes erosion. The melted water from the glacier surface or bottoms seeps into cracks in rocks and freezes. So, heto yung mga malalamig na klima. For example, yung isang hill, yung isang bundok, napalibutan ito ng tinatawag na yelo o niebe. After ma-melt yung niebe na yan, syempre, merong maisasamang mga lupa, mga particles doon or topsoil at mai-move na siya sa ibang place. So that is in glacial erosion. Number 4, erosion by gravity. As you now know, everything on Earth's surface is being pulled towards its center, and hence their tendency is to fall down. So with this, it can cause rocks, the soil, to move down a slope. So yung mga bits of rocks are separated and fall down to a lower level because of what you call gravity. Kaya minsan hindi natin namamalayan yung mga bahay natin. It's because of gumuguho. It's because of what you call gravity. Or yung mga nakikita natin mga matataas na lugar, yung mga bulubundukin, is prone to what you call erosion by gravity. Number 5 is splash erosion. Raindrops falling on the soil exert pressure with their weight. This can cause a noticeable movement of the soil. If the soil is loose and is not protected by a covering of the surface, then a large amount of it lost through raindrop erosion. So, hetong splash erosion naman, class. Halimbawa, umuulan, sobrang lakas ng ulan. So, kapag yung land na yan is walang mga tanim-tanim na mga bermuda or anything na naitanim doon sa slope na yon, ang pag umulan yan, ang tendency is yung pagpatak dahil sa bigat ng patak ng ulan is merong tinatawag na lupa na magdi-disperse, tatalsik sa ibang mga dimension or iba't ibang direction. So that is splash erosion. Number 6, sheet erosion. Water which does not evaporate or immediately sink into the soil is called runoff. During heavy rains, there is more water than what the soil can immediately absorb. So dito naman, class, makikita based on this picture is that yung mga matitirang mga tinatawag na tubig, yung hindi na-absorb lahat ng lupa. Wherein makikita mo there is what you call a runoff, yung pinagdaluyan ng tubig. So yung natira doon, that is what you call the sheet erosion. Number 7, deforestation. Clearing of trees, transforming a forest into cleared land. Ibig sabihin dito, class, that when we cut too much of trees, it will really cause soil to erode because of what you call lack of roots that holds the soil. Number 8, intensive farming. Farmers use excessive fertilizer and irrigation damages the land. So, ito naman, class, kasi alam naman natin that some farmers clear the land by what you call burning trees and what you call other plants, or what you call they are using this what you call kaingin system, which is exposing the soil to rain and wind. Number 9, overgrazing of animals. Animals might make the soil exposed by consuming the grass in a place which can easily be carried by water or wind. So in here, class, kapag kumakain ng damo yung mga hayop, 'di ba? Minsan na isasama yung mga ugat, which is my land yun. So natra-transport yung land into other places. Kung saan kapag kain ng kain sila dun sa part na yon is nakakalbo rin of course yung land. That is causes of what you call soil erosion. And then the last one cause of soil erosion is what you call the activities of people and moving vehicles. So when there are so many people walking, marching, or biking on non-cemented roads, pathway becomes deeper. So, natransport din yan, yung soil dun sa ibang lugar, which is kumakapit dun sa ating mga paa when we walk, when we jump, when we march, at kapag yung tumatakbo yung mga bisikleta or mga vehicles natin na nalalagyan ng putik or lupa. So, that is the causes of soil erosion. Soil erosion continuously occurs in all areas of Earth, but the amount of soil eroded in different areas differs from each other. So, here's are the factors affecting soil erosion. The number one is climate. So, some areas receive abundant rainfall that loosens soil and removes it from its place. So, 'di ba iba't iba naman tayo ng 'di ba areas. So, dun sa area ng north or south particularly is maulan, or yung sa iba naman part is maaraw. So, the types of precipitation such as rainfall and snow, air temperature, wind speed, and type of season are some of the components of climate that continues to soil erosion. Number two factors is that the type of soil. So, some soil have fine texture and some have rough texture. So, soil with finer particles like sand and silt can erode easily than soil particles of clay. So, mabilis lang magkaroon ng tinatawag na soil erosion kapag yung soil na yon is malambot. Kasi pag malambot yung lupa, of course, mas madaling magkaroon ng tinatawag na erosion of soil. So, next is what you call the slope of the land surface. So, land with more steep slopes erodes more soil by water than land with very slight slopes. So, the pull of gravity of water could carry more soil from the higher ground. Number 4 factor is that vegetation cover. Plants protect the soil from being exposed directly to wind and rainfall. The roots keep the soil intact and hold water. Grass, trees, farm crops, and all kinds of plants form a vegetation cover. So, it is important class na yung bakanting lupa kailangan tinatawag na tamnan nyo ng mga halaman, tamnan nyo ng mga damo upang sa ganon hindi makakontribute ng tinatawag na soil erosion. After discussing the damaging effects of erosion, it is important of course that a collective effort be made to prevent soil erosion. There are several ways of preventing or reducing soil erosion. This can be achieved through agricultural practices and individual measures and concern. The first one to prevent or reduce soil erosion is what you call contour plowing. Farmers plow and plant in rows across according to the shape or contour of the land rather than up and down direction of the slope to prevent soil erosion by water. Ibig sabihin daw dito, wag mong gagayahin na pa-vertical or pa-horizontal. Instead, gawin mong shape na pabilog para hindi dapunan ng tinatawag na water erosion. Number 2, terracing. The terraces look like steps that are built by using piles of stones and short vertical drops from one to another that run along the contour of the land. The terraces hold water that enables farmers to grow rice. So, tulad ng tinatawag ng Banawi rice terraces natin. So, that is a ways of preventing soil erosion. Number 3 ways or reducing soil erosion is what you call strip cropping. So, planting two different crops of alternate rows of strips. A series of corn can be planted in a wide strips, and then the next strip can be planted with peanuts as cover crops. So ganyan, as seen in the picture, may alternate. For example, palay, munggo, something like that. Next, number 4 is what you call crop rotation. So there is alternation in the types of plant. Rice may be planted in 1 year, then beans or potatoes may be planted in the next year. So, hindi every year ay palay. Hindi every year ay corn. No, kailangan is there's what you call a crop rotation. Halimbawa, this year, palay. Next year, mais. Next year, palay ulit. So, ganun lang. There's what you call a rotation. So, number 5 is what you call no-till practice. So from the word itself, wala daw pagbubungkal na magaganap. Farmers do not plow the field or disturb the topsoil. The crop residues or leftovers of the previous planting remain in the field that can grow again a new plant. So hahayaan mo lang siya. Soil erosion greatly affects the land of living things on earth. My question now is, how would soil erosion affect all of us? So these are the effects of soil erosion. Number 1, shortage of food supply. So the loss of topsoil result in lesser harvest of farmers, poor quality of crops, and lesser income for farmers. If the farmers would have less harvest, there will be a food shortage in the community. So, kung may shortage na ang food supply, of course, maapektuhan yung tao. The food will be expensive, and so most of people will be malnourished and easily affected by diseases. And then, of course, farmers will have less income, and the economy of the country will be affected. Number 2 effects of soil erosion is that change of landforms. As water seeps through a hill or mountain, soil may loosen and landslide may occur, changing the shape of the mountain or a hill. Some soil particles may be carried to the streams, lakes, and rivers. So with this class, this will lead to flooding of the lower areas in the community that could destroy the lives and properties of the people. Number 3 effects of soil erosion is that flooding and siltation. So people will suffer from floods as there are no roots of plants to absorb water. Soil erosion can also damage fisheries and dam reservoirs as siltation happens at the lower ground within the area. As a citizen class, you should remember all of this. Number 1, plant grass and ground cover barren lands, gardens, or sports fields. Number 2, make sure that homes have enough draining and water collection system. This will prevent of gushing water that will wash away all the topsoil in the ground in and around your home. Number 3, avoid excessive watering on the soil because this will wash away the topsoil and degrade the land. Number 4, all of us should campaign against deforestation because such practice loosens the soil. Loss of valuable soil content can greatly affect our economy. Number 5, realizing the need for humans to restore the fertility of the soil, our knowledge of preparing compost on a small scale in our garden lot will surely be put to use. Number 6, we must do our part in preventing erosion by planting more trees in areas where these are needed. Number 7, a massive campaign against illegal logging and deforestation. We have to be concerned about the preservation of our forests. We should encourage others to participate in preserving and maintaining our environment. because our global warming and pollution problems will also help us realize on the importance of planting if only all of us will follow the different ways given. Then we can preserve our environment. This time, let us now enrich what you have understand in our lesson for today. Get your pen and paper with you and answer the following questions.